Welcome to the NXT Podcast, your home for weekly NXT reviews and insight.
The beautiful part of NXT is that when one dream ends, another dream begins.
Find all of your NXT news, recaps, and analysis right here. So with that being said, we only have one question for you.
Are you ready?
We thought so. Let's get the show started right now.
Hello, everyone. This is Memphis Mark coming to you from Mullet Manor on Saturday, the 11th of December. And it is the Deadline Premium Event. It's what they call it nowadays. And this actually ended up being a pretty doggone good show. They start off actually going straight into the Women's Survivor Challenge match. And that consisted of Zoe Stark, Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade, Indy Hartwell, and Kiana James. So, it's a good lineup. And the rules, please go back and look at the rules, but just a basic rundown. You win. The person that loses goes into a penalty box for 90 seconds. After that, every 5 minutes, another wrestler comes out. So you've got a chance for some a lot of different situations. But in this one, man, I got to say, Zoe came out and looked as strong as always. And she didn't seem to care. Well, she did seem to care that the crowd was kind of, because it started off with Zoe and Roxanne. And the crowd really was pulling for Roxanne. So Zoe had that stunned look on her face. So, they start off, and of course you want to get pins because you get a point for every pin, and the one with the most points is going to win. So they go into a lot of pin attempts at the start of this, and all during the match and everything. But as I said, Zoe looks really strong coming out of there. They go into that Roxanne started wrestling when she was 16, and it is a 25-minute match, so you have to throw that in there too. But the two ladies tear it up for a while, move for move, with some empty pins attempts, and then it's Kiana comes in, and she brings a real spark to the match. She has got a lot of energy. She comes in, she just starts kicking some major butt, really throwing everybody around. It creates a really good atmosphere for the match. It's a really cool match to watch. It's a good match. And they're going back and forth at everything with the aggression of Kiana. They're just kind of playing off that. But, man, Zoe is landing some big, big kicks. And she's really gotten better and better at that. And I think it may have been a little harder on her because she's so doggone strong. She didn't have the flexibility a few months ago, but she was really on spot with those kicks. And it was a good match. I mean, Zoe pins Roxanne first, and then then after that, of course, you're going to have Cora comes flying in, and she starts kicking some major butt, and does really good too herself. She ends up getting a pin on Kiana, so now you got 4 people in there, and they're tearing it up for a good while. Ends up being an actual one lady's got a submission on the other, then it's Cora, Zoe, and Roxanne, but it ends up being like a 3-way submission. Like somebody gets somebody in a leg bar. I think Cora gets Zoe in a Indian death lock or something like that, and then here comes Roxanne with another move. So, and Zoe, man, she was doing some work off the ropes too. So it was really, really good. But they kept making a big deal that I guess Booker T, Roxanne's trained by him. And so, at the end of this thing, he gets emotional about the match. it's a big deal. I mean, as I said, there's some good pins, good match. Roxanne is going to end up getting the win in this, and the ladies, of course, at the end of the match, looked distraught and ticked off and sad. So at the end of it, and that's a good match. Good match. I'd give it a C plus. B minus. It's a good match, man. So definitely go back and check that out. All right, let me see. And, of course, they're getting ready for they've got their next big premium event is going to be, I believe it's February 4th, and it's going to be Vengeance Day. Vengeance Day. And they go, and I guess they let the ladies kind of start this show off, because after that they do a quick little interview, and I won't go through. They didn't do very many interviews, or promos or whatever, but they did do one with the lady champs and Ivy and Tatum Paxley, and Ivy definitely needs work on that mic. So, they get into a little problem. But after that, you've got Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, the witch. And this was a good match. These ladies tore it up, man. Alba, of course, is seeking some revenge, being, having Miss Dawn cost her a title match. But these guys go in, and man, Miss Dawn, she plays the part perfectly. Kind of creepy, kind of just, man, she can be in the worst situation, and she just looks up with that little grin, and before she does some move, she rolls her eyes like the Undertaker did somewhat. And so she's definitely taking the witch persona on, and it looks like she really enjoys it too, because she just looks good doing it. And they're both, of course, Alba is great in the ring, but man, there was some hellacious moves done in this match, man. At one time, let me see, who was it? I can't remember. Somebody comes off with double. I think it was Miss Dawn comes off with double knees to the shoulders off the rope, and it's just, all these moves are just spot on. Man, let me see. You've got some tornado DDTs. You've got all kinds of things going on. It's like an old school kind of match, and. But at one point in time, Miss Dawn reaches over when she's kind of getting it, handed to her, about 3/4 of the way of the match. She reaches over and grabs the referee's ankle. And the referee's like, "Oh, man, get off me, man." And it kind of goes back. But when it comes up for her to get pinned, the referee all of a sudden has black stuff spewing out of his mouth, kind of like the stuff that she spews in people's faces, and kind of falls back into the ring corner. Everybody kind of freaks out. They bring another ref out, get him medical help. At this time, Booker T's just going off like, "What's going on, man? He's got stuff coming out of his nose and his mouth. If your mama would want me to check on you." I mean, Booker T was on prime to that, man. Booker T was definitely spot on today, and had his A game. And even, I gotta say, the announcer that was announcing the wrestlers when they came out and they explained the rules, man, she was really, really good. Very, very good. But this match is good. The ref, of course, gets sick, black crap, they get a new ref. Then before this, though, Miss Dawn had pulled the turnbuckle cover off. And, of course, no one notices it. And when the referee's confused about everything going on because of the hurt referee, you know what that means. That means there's an opportunity for Miss Dawn to grab a hold of Miss Fire and throw her into the exposed turnbuckle, which in turn is going to lead to a pin. And that is going to be how they end that match pretty much. And, that it was a good match too. So the ladies, Iron survival champion or survival match. That was pretty good, and this one I'd put a little bit higher because these ladies have worked together before, and they're both really, really good. So, that was the way those two started. But after that, after you've got those matches, you know what they're going to do? They're going to bring out the New Day, and the New Day and Pretty Deadly. And and Pretty Deadly comes out all dressed in their Christmas colors of red, and Booker T is on this particular match. He is just going on and on. He's I don't like the fact that the boys are here. I don't like the fact that New Day is taking opportunities away from these guys in NXT. When Pretty Deadly said that they would challenge anyone, they meant anyone in the locker room. He's giving all the great excuses and everything. So he does just a fantastic job. And at one point in time, I believe his name is Victor or Vic, the commentator with Booker T, and he goes, "I'd like to wish Big E." He didn't quite get through with what he was going to say. He was going to wish him well. And Booker T's like, "Man, no, I'm not going to wish Big E well." He played the part all the way to the end, man. But you've got New Day and Pretty Deadly for the tag team championships. And it was a great match. Xavier Woods and Kofi, of course, consummate professionals. Just I believe it's 11-time champions. Their teamwork and their in-ring and out of the ring, their mic skills are, everyone knows this. Everybody's been kind of waiting for the split. Well, there's a certain group of people that are, that had predicted a split before now. And I'm still waiting for that split to come, but we'll see how that goes. But this match is good. I'm really high on Pretty Deadly too. They're a great young tag team. So this is a banger match, man. When they started off and everything, Xavier starts it off and man, they're just great. They were going tit for tat. They've got Xavier's got to do a few moves, and Pretty Deadly's got to come back with something, and Pretty Deadly will do a few moves, and then Xavier's got to come back with something. Just kind of like going, if you can do this, I can do this. If you can do this, I can do this. So, but anyway, it starts off like you would kind of think. But, Xavier, Mr. Woods is fan-freaking-tastic. He is not injured now. So he's moving around the ring good. And normally I'm not a big New Day fan, but it did bring something different. And it allowed me to see what Pretty Deadly looks like against a seasoned veteran team. So I know this rematch is going to be good. Or however they do this. But the match was good. Booker T's hollering the whole time that he doesn't like the dancing and all the everything. He sounded like people complaining about Elvis back in the 50s. But, it is what it is. New Day has got their popularity, and they're selling T-shirts and merch. So as long as they're selling merch and making the kids happy, you know what? They're going to be a tag team. But the match, as I said, was great. Pretty Deadly, of course, their teamwork is great, and everything was good. And they even did the unthinkable. Well, what might be the unthinkable? Well, that would be their own version of a tribute to Mr. Eddie Guerrero. Mr. Guerrero, rest in peace, my friend. He was famous for the lie, cheat, and steal. If you're not lying, cheating, and stealing, you're not trying. And they did his classic bring the belt into the ring, throw it to the opponent. You fall down. It looks like the opponent hit you, which is going to ensure you a disqualification in the match, and you will get a win. But they added their comical New Day kind of pretty deadly too, kind of their edge on things when the ref turns around and all four of them are laid out. So the ref didn't go for it, and the match is started back up. But man, Xavier, some of his drop kicks are just oh man, so spot on, and pretty deadly. Just sells, man. They do a fantastic job. But this is going to end up where Mr. Woods is going to get a cover and a win. And we've got new NXT World Champions. And along with that, New Day's going to get up into the crowd and party. Oh, I did leave out one aspect of this match. I guess I might as well, since you're going to look back and see this and wonder why I didn't bring it up. But Kofi twerks. Yeah, he twerks, and pretty deadly. One of the gentlemen, he attempts to twerk too. So that's all I'm going to go into that. There was twerking in the match. But anyway, New Day's up in the crowd. Everybody's hollering and screaming, whoop, whoop, and everybody's all happy. So from there, let's see. From there, we better check the notes here. You're going to have your men's Iron Survival Challenge match. And with the men, you've got Axiom, you've got JD, you've got Carmelo Hayes, you've got Mr. Gacy, and you got Mr. Walla from Down Under. So you've got those five, and Axiom and JD McDonough is going to start it off in this match, and then the third person that comes in is Mello. And then fourth will be Waller, and then in the end it's Gacy. But man, Axiom looked really, really good because he put some licks. I mean, some good looking licks upside JD's head. Which, how can I say this politely? JD's got a big head, and so he takes those clotheslines really good. You don't even have to be a big guy to make it look good. But Axiom was flying around, man. JD, of course, always looks good. And JD does the headbutts with that big old head. And he has a hell of a clothesline, too. And a damn good, from a seated position or just about any position, when he pulls you up and goes into that backdrop or sloop, whatever you whippersnappers want to call it nowadays. But this match was good. It said Axiom and JD started off, and they go into it. They give a great showing. Just move after move. Axiom is as Axiom does. It was tearing it up. But then you got Mello. Mello's going to run out and jump in and make a few moves because Mello don't miss. And he ends up getting the first pin. So, and you get a point for each pin, of course. So, that's it. So those guys tear it up for quite a while. There's nobody getting the better of anybody. Somebody gets 4 moves, and then somebody else gets 5, and then somebody looks better at 2. So it's just back and freaking forth. Then it is time. Well, of course, after the pin, you've got to go back to the penalty box. So that penalty box in this match ends up being an important part of it. So we get all 3 competitors back in the ring. They're about to beat the daylights out of each other. And then Mr. Walla is allowed to come in. It's his time. He comes flying down and does his typical or his signature move of jumping through the ropes, pulling off the DDT version. And he gets a pin on 2 gentlemen. So now he has jumped ahead and he is winning 2-1. And there's several people with none. So they and now with Waller in there and with these four guys, they go back and forth, and it's really good. Waller is just freaking badass. His moves and everything are good. You know how good Melo is. So there is not a weak link in this particular match. But man, Axiom has got some big kicks. JD's doing his moves. Booker T's outside, hollering and screaming. At one point in time, Mr. Waller gets outside, and he is by Booker T. And Booker T did not put Mr. Waller in his top 5, if I'm correct. But there are words exchanged with Mr. Waller and Mr. Booker T. And it was not polite towards Mr. T, or Mr. Booker T, we'll put it that way. Booker went from crying earlier with Roxanne Perez. Now he's getting called like a bitch or something like that. So, yeah. Booker had a big show today. But these guys are tearing it up, man. And when you've got, and of course at the end you've got Mr. Gacy coming out, and man, he's dressed like old school. He's got the regular tights on, and he comes out and just tears it up. Some guys, of course, have the genetics and they can work out a little bit and they look great. He's not the guy with the greatest genetics, but you can tell he's exercising. His cardio's good. And man, he was flying. He pretty much changed the match. He comes out and and submits Axiom, first, and so he's just tearing it up. And then at one point in time, when after Axiom got pinned, Waller hits him when he's coming out of the sucker punches, and when he comes out of the penalty box or going to the penalty box. No, it was coming out, and then pretty much gives him to JD, and because JD and him have had the problems, so that penalty box, there was some major butt whooping going on in there. I think in Russia now they've got a game show to where they lock you up in a phone booth and you beat each other. It was kind of the way that penalty box was, or possibly like some major hockey games. But these guys tore it up. There's move after move. You've got Melo taps out Waller. It's at one time JD locks Axiom in the penalty box, and Axiom goes through the roof and gets out and kicks him and does a backflip off of it. So just everyone. There's one time that JD's going around kicking everybody, doing like his version of the Garvin stomp. Popping them in the corner, and because there's four guys, one in each corner, and he goes around, and then they all kind of come together, and they all kick him upside his head, that very, very large head. But they pull all this off. Anyway, Waller ends up coming in at the last second after somebody's already been pretty much knocked out, and which is Axiom, and Waller gets the third victory, and then there's like a minute and a half left, and he just runs around and keeps Melo from getting a pin. So Waller is going to face the champ, Braun, and Roxanne Perez is going to face Miss Mandy with Toxic Attraction. So after this match, this was a damn good match. So you would think you could almost end the show with this match. But, oh, no, we got one more. We got the poet that didn't know it, Apollo Creed, and then Mr. Braun Breaker for the World Heavyweight Championship, my friend. Now, they do the typical build-up that they do before the matches with the promos, and they recap Apollo and Braun's epic adventures on the lake in the diner. And they go through everything, but then it's time for the main event. Oh, wrong show. But they get started, and the match just comes out. They're matching like strength for strength, and at one point in time they're each going to try to hip toss each other, and they can't hip toss each other, and they're matching speed and strength and all these things together, since they are supposedly so much alike. Supposedly Braun got his standing moonsault from Apollo. So, in which Apollo does first, and he does it twice. And then within a few minutes, Braun is doing it too. Anything you can do, I can do better. So, yeah, it was kind of one of those matches. But then Apollo, Apollo does what Apollo does, and he get tired of all this niceness and everything, so he smacks old Braun upside the head and gives him a shove, and it's on like a pot of neck bones from then, and both of these guys were going at it, going back and forth, and you know what, Braun, I've been kind of hard on Braun as far as his ability in the ring and everything, but he put on some good moves. He had a backflip. He went flying over the top ropes. He did some moves that Apollo, I would think, would be better at, but and he did them too, and of course did them very well. But Braun's, he's really surprising me. He's getting better and better and better. I don't like the fact that they're saying the ex-Baltimore Raven. I think he was there for a cup of coffee. But anyway, that's how we won't get into that. But, man, the match was good, hard fought. In the end, it's going to end up with Braun and the spear. It seems to be his most prototypical way to end things, and it does look good. He speared him out of his shoes, for sure. But overall, it was a pretty good match. I have to say the men's iron match, I think, was the best, and then Alba and Miss Dawn probably second. And look, man, all these matches are good. This is a good thing to go back and check it out if you've got Peacock. It's the free replays and everything, of course. But I just wanted to give a quick rundown, considering we had a lot of wrestling this weekend, and with AEW and the WWE, this was a good weekend. And if you like overall sports, it was a fantastic weekend. So anyway, I guess we will just go ahead and wind this up now. This is the review for Dateline, and as I said, they have the next big event is in the first week of February, and it's Vengeance, I do believe is what it was. Vengeance Day, yeah. All right. Well, anyway, guys, I hope you have a Merry Christmas, and we'll talk before then, but I hope your holidays are going well. Hope everybody's getting a little time off to spend with some family, and I hope people aren't forcing you to put up decorations with an evil eye. Okay. But other than that, been great, been fun. So guys, y'all have a great day. And I'm going to end this on up here now, because this is Memphis Mark. And you know what, man? If you can rescue, please do. And a spay and neuter, of course, always. But as Memphis Mark says each week, this is Memphis Mark. And you know what? I'm out.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.